we learned about Dorian. We learned that that major 6 interval, adding that to a traditional minor chord is going to make a D minor 6 or a minor 6 chord. And that seems to be the real, you could say, base layer to implied Dorian. Hello, this is Critical Guitar. My name's Cole. Let's talk about Dorian. Let's talk about the old favorite second mode. It's actually personally my favorite mode. I guess the first thing I gotta do is start, like I do always. What are the modes? What are the modes? What are modes? At least this is the picture I keep bringing up. It seems to be the most, one I like a bit because it's kind of intuitive. As long as you know what a whole step and a half step is, you should be able to figure out what in the world's going on here. But yep, we'll be here in mode number 2, Dorian, which is a minor derived mode, which means minor chord, as in the minor 3, the root, and the 5 all hang out naturally within the scale space. So I've got here C major, all of the classic notes, no sharps or flats, and D, as we said, or Dorian is the 2nd degree in the scale, so all we need to do is go start from C. There we are for D. So if I mark all of those in blue, you can see that D now pops out of the screen nicely, and that's going to be our root. That's going to be the root for the Dorian mode. And for reference, here's a major scale. To make a traditional chord, we got to look at the 3rd and the 5th. I've already said that the minor 3rd is the thing that we care about for Dorian, because it's minor derived mode, and we can easily do that by just counting, looking at the scale, and let's see where the 3rd lies. So we've got D, we've got E, is our 2nd degree in the scale, and then we got F. So F is going to be our minor 3rd. And I already went through the trouble marking that. I'm going to mark that in green. And just for fun, I mean, a lot of people need some sort of reference. I know I certainly did when I first started looking at this stuff. Here's a minor pentatonic scale right there. And so if we're just kind of cross-checking what we know with minor pentatonic. So I've memorized the circle of fifths. We know that the 5th D is going to be A. But we can, of course, count the scale degrees and we can figure that out, just like we did for the 3rd. Starting over here with D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is A. So I can mark that. And looks like I marked it in black or gray or something like that. So what I'll do is I'll quickly take away all of these red notes and just display really quickly the notes we do have. One that you might recognize is kind of the bar chord type shape is right here. So that's like that's E. That's E minor. If we're talking about the cage system and trying to link this really quickly, we've got D all the way up here in the 10th position. So it turned out okay, but that's a pretty classic shape. So what do we do with it? Well, the traditional thing after this is to now find the important and interesting notes of the mode. So maybe to say it again, we're over here in D Dorian, but we need to figure out what makes D Dorian different from, say, D Aeolian. And so we have to focus in on those interesting notes. This 2 is present in both Aeolian and Dorian. We know that A minor or A Aeolian is the relative minor for the key of C. In other words, we know A minor is home base here for the key of C. So we have this shape for our scale shape. And if you notice that 2nd degree, that whole step away from the root, A, is there as well as Dorian in what I drew earlier. Like that. So clearly this, if we're talking about intervals, this major 2nd is not really the thing that's going to distinguish it. It's going to give it flavor, different from the minor pentatonic scale, but it's not going to distinguish it. Really, the magic happens right here. So earlier we had a minor 6 when we talked about the Aeolian. And now we have a major 6. So this is going to be B. B is now our most important note when it comes to Dorian. And I'm going to quickly just play around on the chord tone specifically, and then I'm going to add in that B note. And let's hear how it sounds. There's B. B again. Something a little different about that. When we looked at Aeolian, it was dramatic. This one's a little bit more fun, laid back. You know, something. There's a reason why Dorian is attributed to Carlos Santana. All right, so let's delete this. Let's get back our root 3rd and 5th, and we're gonna mark that major 6, which I already did. That B note. Looks like it's a yellow, where I now reveal what we have left. So you can kind of see where the minor pentatonic is hanging out. You know, the minor pentatonic fits snugly in here, but if we focus in on these notes, you kind of get some interesting shapes out of here. At least the one that sticks out to me is, you know, this one where we're playing every degree in the actual scale, or in the actual chord that we're going to eventually create. So we got D, A, B, and F. The chord, I'll focus on the chord tones, and then I'll do a little, I'll do a little run with this up here on the top, on the highest strings. That's pretty convincing, honestly. I think that pretty much embodies the feeling of Dorian. Oh man, this just kind of takes me back. These kind of simple licks were like the bread and butter of my improvisation life. And right now we have D minor 7. Hopefully we can improve this chord, but really just doing this kind of lick over and over is what it's all about. I am starting with a knuck stroke here. So now we have a fun lick, and let's pick a better chord to go over this. If I zoom in on that chord shape, that is a D minor 6. So that sounds like this. So it's a really cool chord. It's got, you know, if I compare it to D minor 7 for a second, you know, that's very run of the mill, very safe, but this one, it's got some zazz on it. We learned last week that if I were to do a D minor sharp 5, it would sound something like this. Let's make it a little bit cleaner. It's very dramatic, but this one, a little bit more laid back. At least that's the way I interpret it. I encourage everyone that's studying modes and music theory to really develop your own relationship with a chord and a mode, and really hear it and put that as a tool in your toolbox when you want to sound a certain way. A really good example of just focusing in on a mode and being able to change the mood to whatever you want is Ted Nugent's Stranglehold. In the middle, plays just straight up A minor pentatonic. Then some notes are, sometimes he plays A Dorian, and then when he wants to be dramatic, Ted will play that minor 6 and then play Aeolian, play minor. Straight up. And it's really, really cool. I would highly recommend just people go listen to that solo if you've not. It's a great study, but playing around between Aeolian and Dorian. And that's kind of what the beauty of being able to play chords like D minor 7. I just said that they're in both modes. D minor 7 fits there. And because I'm not playing, you know, or at least the bass isn't implying or the rhythm guitar isn't implying those other notes, then you can play whatever you want. Please do. In fact, you will be a better guitarist for it, be a better musician for it. Alright, so we got D minor 6. Let's check our work. And so I've learned how to use this thing since the last time I tried to do it. So right now I'm just gonna pick some notes here. We said we had, if I recall correctly, we had D, B, F, and A. Boom, right there. D minor 6. Let's find a Dorian backing track and let's go wild. And what I started to do is to take a look and see if people will actually have the D minor 6 in the backing track when they say Dorian. Okay, so we got ourselves, I'm going to So there's some good stuff in there. Actually, that lick worked out really, really well. Like it really, really inspired some pretty good stuff. And oh yeah, we're making this a D minor 6 now. That was pretty good, but if you will notice, D minor 7. D minor 7. Let's quickly look around and let's see if any other backing track actually has G minor 6 in it. But the UJam channel, thank you so much for making a pretty nice backing track. A Dorian, okay. Okay, just A minor and D. I love this. This is cheeky. So they have a Dorian Latin groove and then they have a PRS. I wonder if they're talking about Carlos Santana. Let's do a quick listen. A minor and D7. This is like a Evil Ways kind of a vibe, but no minor 6 to be found. How about Tasty Seductive Groove in B Dorian? B minor 7. Ooh, it ended E9. But no minor 6 to be found. Interesting. Oh, this does remind me of something. Maybe we'll go back. We'll go back and take a look at the chords, but I'm pretty sure the dominant 9 like that, or just the 9th chord, is pretty Dorian as well. But yeah, no minor 6. Thank you, Elevated Jam Tracks. That was pretty elevated. More than just 2 chords. Ooh, 4-3 ratio. We love it. G minor 7, C7. I'm sensing a theme. Nothing against the creators of backing tracks, but yeah, put some minor 6s in there and then call it Dorian. Okay, so I was gonna look back really quickly. If I decide to instead add a G, I wonder what might happen. A G note specifically. So let's go back. Let's add G. Let's see what it comes up with. So this is also what I was kind of looking for. So we've got actually a G9 here, G9 chord. So this chord has 5 notes in it, and it actually makes up the minor 6 chord, and then they put a new bass note on top of it, and all of a sudden it's a new chord. And to be fair, it is, because now it's like, if we got D, we're going to be D minor 6. And then I'm going to go down to the G ninth. It's very evocative of the same sound. So actually, I'll write it out for you. So I'm going to select G here, and we'll grab pink, turn off the major scale for a second. So we can get all 5 notes to make the ninth chord. Here, is there anywhere else where I can also get all 5? I'll probably leave off the first string. Here, I'll throw it in on the hand cam for a second. So here's another G dominant. Here's another G dominant, or a G ninth. And here's the other one. I mean, also, all of these are going to be 10th fret, so normally you would write them out like that. But I'm not going to do that. This one will be 3rd fret, so I'll just say this is the 1st. Yeah, not bad. So we've got all these really interesting chords. It makes me just want to sit on that chord namer and just start changing random notes, keeping the same 4 regular notes, of course, but instead of G, pick something else. So I mean, I'm pretty happy with that. We got actually 2 chords out of there, and now it makes me start to think a little bit of what other chords did I miss in some of the other ones. We learned about Dorian. We learned that that major 6 interval, adding that to a traditional minor chord is going to make a D minor 6 or a minor 6 chord, and that seems to be the real, you could say, base layer to imply Dorian. We also learned that going to that 5th chord and keeping the 9th, we can do a G 9th instead of a G dominant 7. It's the 5 chord. It's the thing that's going to be wacky and weird. But if you still want to imply Dorian on that 5th chord, do G 9th. And finally, we've got also some cool notes in there. If you're looking in the key of C, that 1, 3, 5, and major 6 are going to be really the most important notes. I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this analysis. Yeah. I'm liking it.